My girlfriends all possess finer romantic interests than you. This, she declared during a meal with her companions, so I settled the bill and departed permanently. Currently, she remains unattached, desires my return, and her acquaintances decline to arrange dates for her. Hello, audience. Prior to continuing with this footage, kindly ensure you subscribe to the channel and press the like button if you wish to view additional narratives like this. Appreciated. This incident occurred for years past, yet I'm sharing it presently since I believe I must comprehend what exactly transpired. I encountered Michelle back when I was 25 and she was 23. We were both employed downtown. I worked as an accountant for a medium-sized company. She worked in marketing at a fledgling company. We connected at a social event via common acquaintances and instantly developed a rapport. Michelle appeared stunning, was extroverted, and possessed an alluring charm that drew people towards her. Throughout our initial year, circumstances felt wonderful. I considered myself the most fortunate man on the planet. Michelle proved enjoyable, impulsive, and appeared to authentically appreciate sharing moments with me. I would bring her flowers from the supermarket, organize small picnics within the park, and cook meals for her during challenging workdays. She would chuckle and label me kind, and I believed I conducted myself perfectly. The issue began when she forged close friendships with Brittany and Ashley from her yoga course. Each of these women possessed partners who were, how shall we put it, more ostentatious than Brittany's partner. Derek operated a BMW, donned costly attire, and incessantly discussed his financial holdings. Ashley's beau, Marcus, possessed a certain type of enterprise, perpetually purchasing her trinkets or escorting her to lavish eateries. From the outset, Michelle would return from spending time with them and offer small comments. Brittany displayed this wristband Derek acquired for her. It looked splendid. Alternatively, Ashley mentioned Marcus astonished her with a Napa Valley weekend getaway. That seems incredible. I'd propose arranging a short journey, and she'd make a face, as though I'd recommended we camp in a bog. Perhaps something a touch more distinctive, she would state. The group suppers commenced approximately 6 months into Michelle and my relationship. Derek chose restaurants where the most inexpensive dish cost $40. Then feigned surprise when I'd observe the menu prices. Marcus would arrive sporting a different costly timepiece each occasion, ensuring everyone took notice. I'm not impoverished, but I'm an accountant at a regional company, not a financial broker. I allocate funds for expenditures. I engage in comparative shopping. I find spending $200 on dinner for 2 individuals absurd. When one could prepare something superior at home for 20, Michelle began growing quiet during these meals. She'd sit there while Brittany and Ashley raved about their newest presents or excursions, and I sensed her diminishing beside me. When I attempted to contribute to the discussion, someone would inevitably alter the topic or interrupt me. Jake is more practical than romantic. Michelle began explaining when her acquaintances inquired about our bond. It was always voiced with a slight chuckle, as if she were apologizing for my existence. The most painful aspect was observing her expression during these gatherings. She'd gaze at Derek's watch or Marcus's attire, then glance at my off-the-rack, button-down, and khakis with evident disappointment. I started dreading these collective hangouts, but Michelle insisted they were vital for her social engagements. Things intensified over the subsequent year. Michelle ceased appreciating the minor gestures I performed for her. When I'd bring her blossoms, she'd remark, "You don't need to do that." But not sweetly. More like she felt ashamed by the action. When I arranged a pleasant evening at home with her preferred takeout and a film, she'd spend the entire duration scrolling through Instagram, viewing her friends' posts from whatever pricey establishment they frequented. She started pressuring me to spend money I lacked on items that held no significance to me. Designer clothing, expensive meals, a fancier automobile. When I'd explain that I was saving for a down payment on a residence, she'd get this frustrated expression and say, "You're always saving for something." Her companions became more openly condescending towards me. Derek would make remarks about men who play it safe while looking directly at me. Ashley would discuss the importance of recognizing your worth whenever relationship subjects arose. Michelle never defended me. If anything, she seemed to concur with them. The concluding dinner occurred on a Friday evening in October. We were at some steakhouse downtown with Brittany, Derek, Ashley, and Marcus. Everyone ordered expensive beverages and the priciest steaks on the menu. I selected the chicken and a beer, which apparently was mortifying enough to make Michelle physically wince. Midway through dinner, Derek announced he was taking Brittany to Paris for the weekend. Just because, he stated, grinning. Sometimes you have to remind your girl how special she is. Brittany shrieked and showcased pictures on her phone while Ashley and Michelle leaned in to observe. I watched Michelle's face fall as she scrolled through photos of first-class seats in opulent hotel rooms. Then Marcus produced a Tiffany box and slid it across the table to Ashley. Saw this and thought of you, babe. Ashley opened it to reveal a diamond tennis bracelet that probably cost more than I earned in 3 months. She practically screeched and began exhibiting it to everyone while Marcus basked in the attention. You guys are so lucky, Michelle. But there was a sharpness to her voice I'd never detected previously. She ordered another martini. I could feel the evening deteriorating, so I tried to reroute the discussion. That's really nice, Marcus. Ashley, it looks great on you. Thanks, Jake, Ashley said in that condescending tone people use with youngsters. It's important to be with someone who prioritizes making you feel special. Michelle was getting visibly agitated. She kept drinking and uttering small comments under her breath. When the bill arrived, I offered to pay for both of us, as I consistently did. That's when she erupted. You know what? I'm tired of pretending. Everyone stopped talking and looked at her. What do you mean? I inquired, though I had a sinking feeling I knew where this was headed. Look around this table, Jake. My friends all have better boyfriends than you. The entire restaurant seemed to fall silent. Brittany and Ashley exchanged glances. Derek smirked, like he was watching his preferred television program. Michelle, I began. No, I'm serious. Brittany gets Paris trips. Ashley gets jewelry. What do I get? Dinner at Olive Garden and flowers from the grocery store? My face felt hot. I thought you liked, look at what they get. Excitement. Adventure. Someone who actually tries to impress them. What do I get? Boring stability from someone who thinks splitting a Netflix password is romantic. Brittany looked uncomfortable now. Michelle, maybe we should. I'm embarrassed to be here with you, Michelle continued, her voice growing louder. They all know I could do so much better. The table was dead silent. A couple at the adjacent table was openly staring. I felt like I was going to vomit. I reached for my wallet, pulled out enough cash to cover everyone's meals, and placed it on the table. Then I stood up. Excuse me, I said quietly. Where are you going? Michelle demanded. Home, you ladies. Enjoy your evening. I walked out of that restaurant and drove directly to my apartment. I sat in my vehicle for 20 minutes, replaying what had just transpired. The woman I'd been devoted to for 2 years had just publicly shamed me, reduced our entire connection to a comparison with her friends' sugar daddies, and declared that she felt ashamed to be with me. I went inside, poured myself a drink, and started thinking clearly for the first time in months. Michelle came home around midnight, stumbling drunk and apparently expecting me to console her. Jake, are you awake? I think I drank too much. I pretended to be asleep. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. Made coffee, asked about my weekend plans, mentioned wanting to see a movie later. It was surreal. About last night, I finally said. What about it? What you said at dinner? She waved her hand dismissively. I was drunk. You know, I didn't mean it, but she did mean it. I could see it in her eyes, in the way she'd been looking at me for months. She was ashamed of me. Ashamed of my car, my clothes, my gifts, my job, my way of showing affection. She wanted me to be someone else entirely. I think we need to take a break, I said. She laughed. Don't be dramatic. I said I was sorry, except she hadn't actually said she was sorry. I'm going to stay at my friend Tom's place for a few days. I think we both need some space to figure out what we want. Jake, you're being ridiculous. I packed a bag and left. Michelle called me 6 times that day. I didn't answer. By Monday, she was furious. Left voicemails calling me immature and demanding I come home so we could talk like adults. By Wednesday, she was panicked. Started texting constantly. promising we could work things out. I spent that week at Tom's place really pondering our relationship for the first time. Without Michelle's presence influencing my thoughts, I realized that for months, perhaps even a year, I'd been attempting to become someone I wasn't to make her happy. I'd been apologizing for being thoughtful instead of flashy, for being stable instead of exciting, for showing love through actions instead of expensive gestures. I'd been apologizing for being myself. On Saturday, I went back to the apartment while Michelle was at brunch with her friends. I packed all my belongings and left my key on the counter. I didn't leave a note because honestly, what was there to express? She'd made her feelings about me perfectly clear. I found a studio apartment across town and moved in that weekend. Changed my phone number, blocked Michelle on all social media, told my friends and family that we'd broken up and I didn't want to discuss it. Michelle apparently lost her mind when she realized I'd actually left. Tom told me she'd called him crying, begging for my new number. She showed up at my old job, but I'd already put in for a transfer to our other office across the city. For the first few months, she tried everything. Had Brittany and Ashley reach out to me on social media, sent messages through mutual friends, even had her sister call me once talking about how heartbroken Michelle was. I didn't respond to any of it. The thing is, I wasn't even angry anymore after those first few weeks. I was just done. Michelle had shown me exactly how she felt about me, and I believed her. There's no coming back from being told you're an embarrassment, that your girlfriend's friends all have better boyfriends, that everything you do to show love is inadequate. I threw myself into work and got promoted to senior associate within 8 months. Started going to the gym regularly. Picked up some hobbies I'd abandoned during the Michelle years. Reconnected with friends I'd neglected. For the first time in years, I felt like myself again. Through mutual friends, I heard bits and pieces about Michelle's post-breakup existence. Apparently, she'd thrown herself into dating applications, determined to find her upgrade. She went out with guys who looked impressive on paper, finance brothers, entrepreneurs, guys with expensive cars and designer clothes. From what I heard, it wasn't going well. One guy turned out to be married. Another was living off his parents' money and had no actual job. A third one expected her to sleep with him on the first date because he'd paid for an expensive dinner. She keeps complaining that men don't treat women right anymore, Tom's girlfriend Sarah told me one day. Says they're all just looking for hookups. I felt a brief flash of sympathy, then remembered sitting in that restaurant listening to Michelle explain why I wasn't good enough for her. About a year after our breakup, the friend group she'd valued so much started falling apart. Derek, the Paris trip boyfriend, got caught cheating on Brittany with someone from his gym. Turns out his investment portfolio was mostly credit card debt, and his BMW was leased. When Brittany found out, she posted all the details on social media for everyone to see. Marcus, the jewelry-buying businessman, turned out to be running some kind of multi-level marketing scheme. When it collapsed, Ashley discovered he'd been buying her gifts with borrowed money and was actually broke. She dumped him and had to return most of the jewelry to pay off debts he'd racked up in her name. Suddenly, Michelle's friends all have better boyfriend situation. Didn't look so appealing. I started dating again about 18 months after the breakup. Nothing serious at first, just casual dinners and getting to know people. It was refreshing to meet women who appreciated thoughtfulness, who didn't roll their eyes when I brought flowers or planned low-key dates. That's how I met Emma. I was at Barnes & Noble on a Saturday afternoon browsing the biography section when this woman next to me dropped a stack of books. I helped her pick them up and noticed they were all children's literature. "Thank you," she said, smiling. "I'm a kindergarten teacher, always looking for new books for my classroom. It's really cool. I bet that's rewarding work."
It is.
"What do you do?" "I'm an accountant." "Not nearly as interesting as teaching 5-year-olds. She laughed. "Are you kidding? Numbers make sense. 5-year-olds are chaos with tiny shoes." We ended up talking for 2 hours. Emma was warm, funny, and genuinely interested in hearing about my work, my family, my thoughts on everything from books to travel to what we'd wanted to be when we grew up. When I mentioned that I was thinking about going back to school for my CPA, she got excited. "That's amazing. What made you decide to pursue that? Not, why would you want more school? Or isn't that a lot of work?" just genuine enthusiasm for my goals. We started dating slowly. Emma appreciated the small gestures I made. Flowers, home-cooked dinners, remembering things she'd mentioned in passing. She'd light up when I planned thoughtful dates instead of expensive ones. When I made her breakfast on weekend mornings, she'd tell me it was the most romantic thing anyone had ever done for her. You pay attention. She told me one evening after I'd surprised her with tickets to see an author she'd mentioned loving, "I've never dated anyone who actually listened like you do." With Emma, I felt like being myself was not just acceptable, but appreciated. She made more money than Michelle had as a teacher, but she was thrilled when I'd cook dinner for us instead of going out. She loved our quiet evenings at home, our weekend hikes, our conversations about books and future plans. A year and a half into dating Emma, I proposed. Nothing flashy. Just the two of us on the hiking trail where we'd had our first real conversation about wanting the same things in life. She said yes before I finished asking the question. Planning our engagement party was completely different from anything I'd experienced with Michelle. Emma wanted something simple and joyful. Good food, people we loved, celebrating the fact that we'd found each other. No competitions, no showing off, just happiness. That's where Michelle comes into this story again. Last Saturday night, Emma and I were at our engagement party at Tom's backyard. About 50 people, nothing fancy, just friends and family celebrating with us. Emma looked beautiful in a simple blue dress. And I couldn't stop smiling watching her talk with my parents, who absolutely adored her. I was getting drinks from the cooler when I saw a familiar figure by the gate. Michelle, wearing a dress that was far too formal for a backyard party, holding a gift and looking uncertain. My stomach dropped. I hadn't seen her in almost 3 years. I walked over before she could get to the main party area. "Hi, Jake," she said quietly. "Congratulations. I heard you got engaged." "Thank you, Michelle. You can't be here." I know. I just... I brought a gift. I wanted to congratulate you both." "How did you even know about this?" "Sarah posted something on Instagram. I saw the address." I glanced back at the party. Emma was talking with my sister, completely unaware of the drama unfolding by the gate. "I just want to say I'm happy for you," Michelle continued. "You look really happy." "I am, but you need to leave." We're on well. "Can I just meet her, Emma? Just to say congratulations?" "No, please, Jake. I know things ended badly between us, but I've changed. I've grown up a lot." I studied her face. She looked older, tired in a way that had nothing to do with physical exhaustion. Her confidence was completely gone, replaced by something that looked like desperation. "Michelle, I'm engaged to someone I love very much. This is our celebration. You being here is inappropriate." "I know. Her voice cracked. "I made such a huge mistake with you. I see that now." "Good, I'm glad you figured that out. But that doesn't change anything, doesn't it? I mean, we had something real before I screwed it up." I looked at her for a long moment, then back at Emma, who was now laughing at something my dad had said. "We never had anything real, Michelle. Real relationships don't involve one person being embarrassed by the other. Real love doesn't come with conditions about how much money you spend or what car you drive." But I was young and stupid. I didn't know what mattered. "You knew? You just decided I didn't matter enough." I could see tears starting in her eyes, but I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not pity, just a mild annoyance that she was disrupting my happy evening. "I should go," she said finally. "Yes, you should." I watched her walk back to her car and drive away. Then I went back to the party, kissed my fiancé, and continued celebrating the best thing that had ever happened to me. Emma asked me later who the woman at the gate was. "Someone from my past," I said. "Nobody important." And that was the truth. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.